Welcome to One Brothas Mind, and I am KD Smooth. Today we will question and challenge popular information and views from a B1 perspective, while we expose the real facts you need. We do this to strengthen your logical, critical, and discerning thinking skills. Because in today's world, hard choices are mandatory and they come with consequences. So you need all the information. And at One Brothas Mind, we do this from a B1 Yeshua the Christ follower's perspective. Now, if you're not ready, you better get ready with Katie Smooth at One Brothas Mind. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Katie Smooth coming back at you with a new report. I pray you all are doing well. Shalom, family. In today's report, we are going to chop it up about this issue on your screen. Has the predator returned? Yeah, family. There's some new disturbing reports that are circulating, and we're going to have a look at a couple of those today and try to find an answer to that question. Has the predator returned? Now, here at One Brothas Mind, we don't call or use the official name for that predator that we dealt with for those 3 years that took out millions of people. We don't use the official name here. We call it the predator, or as in scripture, it's called pestilences. But here at One Brothas Mind, we call him the predator. Regardless what the official names that are given to them, it's always the predator. Okay? So, again, we got a couple of video clips that we're going to review, and just to kind of get up to speed on what's being reported. And then as we look at those, we're going to chop it up, and then we're going to try to answer a few more questions after those. So, without further ado, let us get into our video clips. And as we do that, we definitely want to give a special shout out to the China Observer. So you can see their YouTube channel there. This is the title of this report. I definitely encourage you to go and review the entire report. So let's get started here.
The pandemic prevention expert we mentioned earlier revealed that China is currently experiencing an outbreak of the H5N1 bird flu. A medical professional in Beijing, known for their integrity, also confirmed to the media that H5N1 has broken out. Li Muyang, the host of the news program News Insight, said the Chinese authorities are likely using the term flu to cover up the highly pathogenic H5N1 bird flu. The Chinese Communist Party is afraid that acknowledging the truth might cause public panic and further damage the economy. On February 4th, Chinese state media reported that the latest data from the CDC indicated COVID-19 might be evolving into a seasonal illness similar to the flu. Out of 1,513 respiratory infection cases tested, people aged 30 to 40 were found to be 2.3 times more likely than other age groups to face the risk of co-infection with both COVID-19 and the flu. Then, on February 11th, an employee from a local CDC office confirmed that human cases of bird flu had indeed appeared in Shanxi province. However, the employee said they couldn't discuss the exact number of infections or deaths. Another staff member revealed that 2,000 people in Shanxi had been infected with H5N1, and 300 had already died from the virus. In fact, reports of a bird flu outbreak had already surfaced in December and January. On January 26th, a TikToker known as Goose Goose, who raises breeding geese, warned fellow farmers about the situation. They said, "The bird flu outbreak in Shandong, Henan, and Hebei will have a negative impact on our breeding geese. Some of our geese have already been infected. Everyone, please stay alert." A farmer from Puyang, Henan, confirmed that their entire flock of geese has been wiped out. In mid-December, a female farmer from Jiangsu posted a similar warning. She said the virus was spreading rapidly in Shandong, Anhui, Hebei, and parts of northeast China. "Please be careful," she said. "The duck plague is spreading in chicken farms. Make sure you improve ventilation, manage temperature fluctuations, and strengthen immunity." Meanwhile, a research paper on H5N1, written by Chinese bird flu expert Liu Xiufan a decade ago, was suddenly removed from social media. Around the same time, the full text of the paper disappeared from a pharmaceutical information website as well. The H5N1 strain has long been a concern for the World Health Organization, as it can infect humans. If human-to-human transmission is confirmed, the virus could trigger a global crisis. Beyond the bird flu,
Family, pay close attention to the point that was just made. If human-to-human transmission begins to occur, then we have the return of the predator. Let's continue.
there's also a growing concern about other respiratory illness spreading across China. Officials call it type A influenza, but many people are suffering from it firsthand.
This virus is really aggressive. It's already my 7th day. I thought I could just take some medicine, get through it, but the first night, I was coughing so badly that I felt like I was dying. The coughing was so intense that I almost suffocated. I couldn't catch my breath.
While he spoke, his voice became thin and weak, and at one point he completely lost the ability to speak. The suffering from this outbreak seems unbearable for many in China. Another woman said she hadn't fully recovered even after taking Tamiflu. She even joked that this strain of the flu deserved to be called Big Brother flu. It's too powerful. It's already my 6th day, and I've been taking Tamiflu since day 1, but my throat still sounds like this. I've had a fever 3 times now, each time reaching 39 or 40 degrees Celsius. The coughing is so bad my lungs hurt. I've even coughed so hard that my abdominal muscles are sore. My mouth is filled with a bitter taste, and I can't eat anything without feeling nauseous. It's miserable, but if I don't eat, I get hungry. No matter what I eat, it feels awful. This flu isn't something you can underestimate. It's terrifying. On February 8th, former Chinese journalist Zhao Lanjian posted on X, saying that a recent Christian gathering in northeastern China had led to a deep discussion about the widespread deaths happening in society.
Okay, family, again, I strongly encourage you to go to the China Observer and review the full report to get the rest of the information. But this is definitely something, family, that we need to keep our eyes on. You need to be informed about. You already see and are aware of what's happening here in the U.S. Matter of fact, let's go to our next clip so we can confirm what's happening in the U.S. Okay? But just before we do, family, if you appreciate our content here at One Brothas Mind, please smash the like button, share this report on all your social media with all your peoples, and be sure to be subscribed to One Brothas Mind, where we try to bring you the information, facts, and truth you need. All right, let's get into our second clip here right now.
The latest CDC tracking data on bird flu suggests the virus may be spreading undetected among humans.
Now, I will tell you that COVID was a minor pandemic. People say it's the biggest pandemic we had in 100 years. It's a minor pandemic. It had probably less than 0.5% mortality, and then only in certain patient populations, those over 60, over 65.
Quick, 30 seconds, why should we be worried about bird flu?
Bird flu is going to be a major pandemic. If the cases to date in humans have about 50% mortality. If you look at bird flu right now, it's in over 150 million of our chickens and birds. We now know.
Did you hear? In humans, it has over a 50% mortality rate. That's worse than the original, way worse than the original predator. Okay? Again, if and when human-to-human transmission starts occurring, we have a whole new problem. Let's continue.
It's in 48 different mammal species. It's now gotten into humans. It's starting to change in humans. Once it learns how to go human to human, we will have a catastrophic pandemic.
We also learned this weekend that the number of hospitalizations is up to 4. That doesn't seem like much, and it isn't, but the worry is if the virus is left unchecked, a more substantial health crisis could be looming.
Now to the spread of bird flu, which is causing egg prices to soar. Dozen eggs now 50% more expensive than a year ago, and there appears to be no relief in sight. Several U.S. Department of Agriculture employees working on the country's response to bird flu were accidentally fired over the weekend, and now the government is trying to hire them back. In a statement released yesterday, the agency says it's working to rescind the letters for the positions related to bird flu efforts. The latest data shows 151 confirmed flocks have been hit by bird flu, affecting 23 million birds.
Okay, family. Definitely pay attention to this graphic. They're not going to mention it verbally, but if you see to the top left corner, focus in on the human cases. The earlier report was here in the U.S. there's been 4, but there's actually, according to this report, been 68 human cases. Now, these are specifically, according to the reports, are cases from animal to human transmission. Okay? That's completely different than human to human transmission. But in these reports, we're going to address that issue, the human to human transmission, in just a moment. Let's continue.
The CDC has confirmed 68 cases of bird flu among humans in the U.S. so far.
So we've been talking about bird flu for quite a bit. I mean, is now the time when people really need to start paying attention with the number of cases that we have? I mean, those are pretty extraordinary numbers.
I think to put this into context, it would be helpful for people to understand how a pandemic bird flu emerges. And we have a graphic, I think, that's going to come up on screen here to help illustrate this. So the bird flu can infect birds as well as mammals, which include pigs, cattle, and cats. People can get infected with the bird flu when they come into close contact with infected animals. So farm workers, for example, are at high risk for infection. At the same time, people can get infected with the regular human flu during winter flu season. And so a person could get infected with both the human flu and the bird flu at the same time, especially if, say, they're a farm worker or someone else who comes into close contact with infected animals. So now the flu virus is made up of 8 different pieces of genetic material. When you have different flu strains infect a person or another animal at the same time, those flu strains can swap parts. And that's how you make a new hybrid flu strain. These new hybrid flu strains can be especially dangerous because now you can get the human-to-human spread, and that can spark a pandemic.
I want to buy your house.
All right, family. That's what we have going on here with our situation. So what you have to understand is those parts, especially the last part that the lady spoke of it with the graphic of showing that with the mixture of the two viruses or three current viruses, that's where the bird flu can gain in function, can gain the ability to spread from human to human. According to reports, that has not happened yet. But it's possible. Okay? So let's actually I think there's a little bit more of our last clip I want to share. I think there's a little bit more, and let's finish that here if we can right now. Okay. That part that you just heard about is important as well. The question is that many people are asking is if they're going to start giving the chickens the ooh-wee. Here at One Brothas Mind, y'all see the V word. We don't use that. We call that the ooh-wee. If they're going to start giving the chickens the ooh-wee, what's in that ooh-wee? And is it safe for us to consume? Yeah. So that is an additional concern. Okay? So, yeah, family, there's a lot going on right now. So, with all of that being the case, we're asking the question, has the predator returned? With the previous outbreak that pretty much shut most of us in our houses, it occurred actually prior to me starting posting on social media. But even though that was the case, I was following that predator and telling friends and family about it and posting on my personal social media about it 6 months prior to the full outbreak, if you will. So once again, KD Smooth is here asking this question. Has the predator returned? Yeah. Is it time for you to start paying attention to the numbers, paying attention to the reports? If you don't have reliable, early, informative information sources, it's time you get some. Because I think based on the experience that we've all been through already, can you really wait and try to rely on mainstream media and the government for this information? Yeah. So, with that being said, family, what you have to keep in mind, and I said this on my previous Predator reports here at One Brothas Mind. This is the scripture from Matthew 24, verse 7. It's very familiar to most. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences with an S. Not pestilence, pestilences, meaning multiple or many. What we went through before was just our first main occurrence. Is this bird flu thing our next one? And if it's not, there's definitely going to be some after it. But right now, this is what we're focused on. Most people are paying attention and complaining about the prices of eggs. I'm not worried about the prices of eggs. I'm worried about how it's affecting people primarily. I'm worried about my safety plan for my family. You know, do you even have a plan? Most people didn't have a plan. People was online talking about you can do all kind of weird things to stop it, prevent it. There was even idiots talking about so-called black people can't even get it. Hold on, y'all remember that? Wow. It was all kind of craziness that people were saying and the media was reporting. Your boy, Mr. Cheeto, man, was talking about maybe people should swallow some bleach or something. I mean, really? It ain't gonna be nothing. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, y'all remember? So, can you really rely on any officials, local, national, government, lamestream it? Can you? Or do you need to have a plan for yourself and your family to be able to take action before there's a major spread or things get bad? You say, well, what action can we be taking? Remember these? Yeah. At the very least, isn't it time to start the sanitizer routines again? At the very least. And the hand washing? Or is most people just gonna do the same old, dumb, non-responsive, ridiculous things and not start to implement personally, family, and business-wise, schools, corporations, and businesses? They're not gonna start enforcing these sanitizer and hand washing. That should have never went away, but it has in most places. The first two on your right of your screen is how we prevent most of these things. The problem is we won't be able to prevent most of these predators because we won't keep doing these two things on the right. The schools, the students, the businesses. We have not learned from what we went through the first time. That's why there's going to be more, and many of them are going to be worse. So I'm asking the question at this point, could this bird flu be the new next predator? In the clip, she explained on how it could make that gain of function to be able to spread from human to human. Has that already happened? I showed you what was happening over in China. As a matter of fact, right quick, I forgot to do this. Allow me, family, bear with me just a moment. Let me do this right quick. The second report came from this YouTube channel, Jason 8. I definitely encourage you to go to that channel and check out the full report there. Definitely got to give that channel a shout out. But is that what we're doing? Do you have a plan? Are you paying attention? Do you have good early information sources? Or are you going to just fall right into the situation, same situation all over again, like most people? What are we doing? With that being said, family, again, has the predator returned? Should we be taking action for ourselves and our families now? I remember the first time, about approximately 4 months before it was officially announced, I was looking at taking my kids out of schools approximately 4 months prior to everything really getting bad and jumping off then. But if I had done that, the schools would have treated me as like a criminal parent, with truancy and all that stuff. And all I wanted to do was protect myself and my family, because I knew what was going on early and what seemed to be coming. I was being proactive. Not being a bad parent, actually being a good parent. I remember with one of my children, they had a part-time evening job during this time. The same 4 months prior, 4 or 5 months prior. I saw what was coming. I saw what was happening over there in China. And I said, okay, either that over there is already here or it will be here soon. And it's going to spread like wildfire, right? So I went and talked to my child's supervisor at their job and asked, this is 4 months prior to really jumping off here, asked if my child could wear gloves and a mask. That's all. While they work, right? You know what the boss told me? No, we don't do that here. You ain't gonna be able to really serve the customer. And you got a mask on, they ain't gonna really be able to hear you. You ain't gonna be able to talk, and communicate. I said, yes, you can, and yes, you will. It's just a mask. Doesn't stop you from talking. No, we don't do that. That's what that company's, and it was the White Castle, y'all, here on the East Coast. That boss, that company said, no, my child couldn't protect themselves. Not that everybody else had to do it, but they wouldn't allow my child to do it while working. I said, man, y'all crazy. Y'all ain't even paying attention to what's going on. Y'all don't know what's coming. And I told him, he laughed at me, right? I said, well, take my daughter off the schedule and keep my daughter off the schedule until y'all decide to allow your workers to at least be able to protect themselves while wearing gloves and a mask. Okay? I'm out. And I took my child and we left. Within a few months of that, they terminated my child again. They still they were starting to hear and see what was going on, but most companies still had done nothing. They had no plans, no nothing, no actions to protect their workers and their environment. They literally terminated So my point in bringing that up is, if we as parents, family, if we do what we can do to be the best parents and to protect ourselves and our family, especially early protection, which is best, understand there's going to be consequences to do that if we do that. Right at the same time that I stopped my child from working, I was looking to pull my children out of school at that same time, way before everybody else, it became a thing. If I had done that, there's a much stronger potential that my family and I would have never came down with the predator. But I was in my mind going back and forth about, on one hand, here's the safest thing to do, which was to pull my children out and just deal with the consequences, versus gambling, leaving my children in these schools with this predator going on and risking one of my children coming down with it, therefore bringing it home and spreading it to the rest of my family. With as dangerous as it is, let's say that. I was waking up in night sweats trying to make that decision because of the potential consequences. I had a high school senior at that time. If I had pulled my student out, that would have drastically negatively affected their GPA, because they were trying to lock it down and build it up even higher so they could get started in college well, right? So if I had pulled them out, that's going to affect their college option as well. When all I wanted to do was pull my student out, get their class assignments, or go up there once a day and pick up classroom assignments or get them emailed to us or whatever. That's all I wanted. I wasn't going to request like virtual school, which is what all schools eventually did. Yeah, this was what I was deliberating 4-5 months prior to everything, the predator going crazy over here. So I didn't make that decision, and the predator made it into my house too. So what do you think I'm going to do this time if the predator has returned? What are you going to do? There will be consequences. Just food for thought, family. Not to build your fear, cause you to fear, but to be informed. Need to be informed, family, so we can make better decisions for us and our families. Y'all let me know what y'all think on this report, on this issue going on in the comments. Let's chop it up in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. And do y'all have a plan? If not, you need to get one. Okay? And this concludes this broadcast for One Brothas Mind. We thank you for joining us, and as a part of the new Black media, B1 choices are mandatory, and being on code is required. But never fear, Yeshua the Christ is with you always. Shalom.